Welcome to Deep Thought. Know your seasons. You know what? I have a lot in metaphysical circles. They talk about cycles and everything, and of course we know about the regular seasons. Right now we're in the middle of winter. And of course, then there'll be spring, summer, fall, winter, yada yada. For those who watch the Avatar cartoons, Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, it was, water, earth, fire, air, all that good stuff. Look, we have those general seasons, and, people who get into astrology and stuff like that, or the Chinese Bagua, they know about seasons. But the thing is, regardless of your spiritual path, you have to know your own personal seasons. You got to know when things are going to work for you and when things aren't going to work for you. And I thought about it because I was just going to call this the hot season, right? Ever since I was young, when there'll be a period where I go through 3, 4, 5 months and everything is just hot. I mean, when I say hot, just I'm making money, boom. I'm all the women going crazy over me, boom. It's like it's nothing but luck. And then I go through some periods, I'll say I'm not as lucky. I haven't really gone through. Well, I've gone through some bad luck periods. I've gone through some. But it's like very short. Usually I say not as lucky, not as hot. I'll say lukewarm periods on a normal basis where I just kind of chill out. Everybody has to know what's going on, be cognizant of what's happening to them. And it's something, they can track it after a year. In fact, some exercise I would give everybody to do, look back over your life and look at anything major that's happened. And like in your life that affected you. That includes receiving money or having to pay money out, like something to break down. Or, when you were able to get a new car, new job. When you seem like you attracted more attractive mates to you. When you would go through breakups, divorces. Things of that nature. Just sit down, take a piece of paper. It could take you a few days. For people to really think about it, maybe a few hours. But just think about every major event, good or bad, that happened in your life. And then once you do that, just look at when they happened. And then you'll have a pattern. There's a definite pattern when I'll use a great example, just attracting women. Even though I generally attract them all year round, there's certain periods of the year where I attract them a little bit harder than I do normally. And then there's certain dead periods for me. I swear I can't meet anybody. There are just certain dead periods. I know when they come, I'm not gonna give them out. And I might meet some during that period, but it is like a little short time. I just sit back and just say, okay, I'm going to do something else during this time. And it's even times when you're going to relax. Like right now, it's kind of a chill out period. Like I've been approached by a lot of people to get projects started, right? You get to work on some type of project or even like a whole lot, which is actually normal for this period. But I don't start anything new until my birthday. That's when I just build up, and that's when I hit the ground running. Which, incidentally, around my birthday, I say between the periods between I say from my birthday to about the end of March is always a good money making period for me. Like I always get money, and this is even before I had kids, and I knew how to work those tax things, get those credits, child tax credits and stuff, right? Because I noticed like around March, I would always get jobs, like new jobs around March when I was like still working for other people. I would always, it's like if I go for a job, it's like if for whatever reason, say say I get tired of doing all this and talking, I say, look, I'm just going to give me a regular job and chill out. I wouldn't look for it until like March, and I guarantee I'll get it. Now, of course, I've gotten jobs during other periods, but it's something about the energy. I know that energy, but then I also know when not to really look, because there's been times I would look for a job during a certain period. I couldn't find anything. It is everything. You do that for relationships. Do it for money. Yeah, definitely do it for money, because you get an idea when to make investments, when not. Think about projects. Think about the different projects that you've worked on, major projects. Like for me, all my books that have been published like in the fall season sell well. Now I have a book it sells somewhat, and I started it. I think I published it in like a February. Now normally that's a good time, but maybe not for books. So, and even now, I would in summertime, I'd never publish a book. I would never publish a book in the summer, never. Because there's not a time for it. Because, you went there. But then there's other stuff that happens during the summer for me. Figure out every pattern, because it's not going to be like uniform. Like there's going to be good times that you can meet a mate and bad times to meet a mate. Good times to work on a project, or good times to look for a job. Bad times. Things when something's going to break down. Because I remember when I had a home, it was like a fixer-up a few years ago, right? And there would be a major project that would happen around the same. Some major would break down during the summer. Every single, almost. It was a weird pattern, but major would always have to be fixed during the summer. Some is always. I was just like, when I say major, like I remember there was a water main break. First summer there, I was like, ain't this some stuff? It's like, good gracious. And then a boiler go out or something like that, or central air goes out. I was like, damn. But at the same time, if you know your seasons, you know when to really prepare for something. You know when to really deal with something. It's like it's coming. Like if during this period there's usually some emergency or something, you already know to put money away. That's a very key thing. You already know, all right, I usually have something that happens or something major happens, or like, it could be a car or something. Like you always know it's around this same time every year your car will break down. So you already know to put money away for it. Now, something else, too, speaking of the car, if you know that something tends to happen around the same time, you can also prepare for it. Like you might say, you know what, my car always breaks down around this time of year. Why don't before I get to that point, I know maybe a month before that period starts, let me go take that car in and get everything fixed. And then it won't happen. And then actually, I'm going to tell you on a deep level, they actually set up something new. Like if you know something is going to happen, you already know. Like if you already know that around a certain time, you always have like a breakup or something like that, you already know to prepare for it. You already know. Like if you always know that you have trouble with a mate around a certain time of year. Before that even comes, you know to sit down and say, all right, I usually have a problem around this time of year. Let me, why don't I take the mate, sit them down, have a conversation with them. And I don't have to tell them, oh, yeah, I'm expecting a breakup. But you could always say, work on something, or say, you know what? I need to be nicer, or I need to be more attentive, more romantic, figure out something. That way you can break it down, because, that's that pattern. You can see the thing about patterns, if you know about them, you can actually break them. And then if you know about them, you can also reinforce it. Like, for example, I said I'm usually good for getting a lot of money around March. I'm always good for getting jobs, whatever. I've gotten windfalls around March. It's like just different ways, right? One of the things, knowing that, right, you can make plans. You could say, okay, let me plan to buy this, or let me jump on this project or something, or make plans to put this away, something. you already know. You already know. So one of the things, if you know your seasons, that's very powerful. Because you know when to do something, when not to do something. And of course, somebody going to get you to try to do something. Because, well, maybe their season is different. Well, yeah, I got to work that out. But then, that's why during the bad periods, you work to change that energy. You know it's coming. So you work to change it. That way, you want to get to the point where ultimately all seasons are good for you. You want to get to the point you're touching gold all the time. It's just, it ain't like peaks and valleys. It's peaks and then maybe dip down a little bit, but you're still up there. Then more peaks, and you want to get to the point you just on the peaks. In fact, you want to get to the point where everything is going great for you, and that's the plateau. And then there's no place to go but up. But the key is, regardless of anything, and like I said, you don't have to follow a specific system and do it. All you need is a piece of paper and just remember when stuff happened. Write it down. If someone's attitude towards you change all of a sudden, write it down. Just pay attention to everything. And also, too, in knowing your seasons, it's not even so, you want to write down what's happened outside of you, but think about what you did at the time. Like, were you eating something different? Did you have a different attitude? Had you lost some weight or something? Just try to figure out, okay, what did you do around that time? Even if it's something outside of you, it's like, okay, what was I doing? What action did I take? So, anyway, right? That's it for today. I want y'all to think on this. Keep rising and transforming. Peace.